Today is a very low energy day for me. I don't know why. I think it could be the upcoming period, but I'm exhausted. And the thing with energy is, sometimes your body's really tired and you're struggling, but you know that you have to keep going. You still need to keep giving. So you just play with your mental energy. You kind of just give it all, and then you get that second breath, and everything's just better, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be able to last for maybe just brief couple of hours or something. But I feel like you still gotta have this mental energy, and that's exactly what I don't have today. I have zero mental energy, and when that happens for me, it doesn't matter. Even if my body is functioning properly and I had like good amount of sleep, I will not be able to get back to life, to just be normal. Today's one of those days. Thankfully, it's not all the time. So you're just gonna have to forgive me, but that's exactly how I'm gonna talk to you today. With my little full camera. Oh, this is also my, what do you call it? Fidget toy, right? And I kind of forgot that I had them, but oh my god, it's just so cute. First of all, and it just feels really really good to, be doing that. But however low energy my day is, and that's also me, low energy, I still went for a long walk, I worked, I did everything I needed to do, I went to a park. So my low energy is still doing things. Maybe I should actually chill for a little bit. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. But how low energy it is, it's still not low enough not to be talking about books. And this is the book of the day. I don't know, I think I should kind of like start talking about books because I am finally back to reading. I had a very long period in my life where I was not reading, or just like not reading consistently, and I could not understand, like, because I've always loved reading since forever. Maybe not all the books, because still, even as a child, you already have some kind of genres that you prefer, or writers. But I don't know, there's just something crazy about being able to look at pages, black and white, simple ink, and imagine a world that you are now a part of permanently. And some of those worlds just never let you go, and you relive them throughout your life. And it's just so beautiful to be able to live through someone's vision, but also at the same time enrich it with your own version, because there are as many versions of a book as there are many readers. It's just how it is, because each person imagines it in a different way. It just completely makes sense. But for a very long time I was undiagnosed for my thyroid, for my autoimmune disease. So one of the symptoms is a complete lack of focus. They call it brain fog. You literally cannot focus, and already everybody these days is struggling with their attention span. And like I could not finish one page. I would start reading it, and the first couple words or even sentences were fine, and then somewhere by the middle I would completely lose it and just be in my own thoughts without even thinking about anything. And then by the end of the page I would realize that I did not get one single word of the book. Doesn't even make sense. So you just keep reading that one page, and then you pretend like, okay, I understood the page, and then you go on the next one, and then it's the same thing. But now that I am medicated and I am better, thank God. Well, I've had this book for I'd say around 2 years now. The reason that I kind of refuse to read it is because it's in French. We're talking about an autobiography by Barack Obama. Did I want to read it in French? I kind of did not. And I still feel like now that I have read it in French, because that's exactly the book that I've read, I still do feel like I've missed some parts of it because I did not read it in the original. But at the same time, like, the amount of books that we've read from different authors and we don't speak the languages, it's okay. It's also not about that every single time. I just needed a new book, and I grabbed that one. Damn. What a book. First of all, he wrote it, I think he was 33 years old. How fun. I feel like this is just so exciting to read about somebody who you know, or at least you know them as a public persona later in life, and then all of a sudden he lost like 40 years or something. I actually don't know how old he is. I think I'm exaggerating now that I'm doing the math. I would say he is maybe 60, so a little less than that, but never mind. Still, like, you imagine Barack Obama, you see what kind of person he is, at least publicly, what kind of mannerism he has, how he talks. So I was already curious to see if he would be the exact same or like similar type of person when he was younger. And I also knew that, like, regardless of what you think about him as a politician, he is a very interesting persona. The way he talks, the way he thinks, I personally appreciate it. So I wanted to learn more about him, and I already knew that he is a very multicultural person, and turns out indeed even more so than I expected. So basically the book is called damn, now I forgot the title in English, but I'm just gonna research it for you and write it down. Basically the dreams of his father, I suppose. So it is centered a lot around his family, not just his father. Why is his father one of the main figures? It's because he was mostly raised by his mom's side of the family, who is white side of the family, and his Kenyan dad would not be as present, but when they did get to see each other for very brief moments, his dad's presence was so big and so impactful on him that it actually made him later in life go to Kenya and meet the rest of his family. And I really appreciate reading autobiographies, and what's really cool about this one is, even if I didn't know who Barack Obama is, what type of person, I would still appreciate this life story so much because it's just so rich and so beautiful, and as I said, so multicultural, something that I personally adore. He was basically raised in Indonesia. He spoke the language fluently. He has so many siblings. All of them are half siblings because none of them share the same. He doesn't share the same mom with them. He lived part of his life in Hawaii. Then he lived in other parts of the U.S., including Chicago. That's where he met Nicole. Sorry, I was thinking about Move with Nicole because I've been doing a lot of Nicole's videos, and damn, the girl makes me suffer so much. So I'm sorry, Michelle. That's not what you mean. That's not what you think. And it's just that personally, it was my dream when I was a kid, when I was growing up. I would imagine me being a daughter of someone who travels frequently, and like, let's say my parents would have to move countries all the time, so I would get to spend like 2 years in, let's say, Kenya, 2 years in Japan, 2 years in somewhere else. Well, that did not happen. None of my parents were diplomats. We didn't have enough money to travel, but it was still such a big dream of mine. So to see someone who actually did get to live it, and also not just the positive parts of it, because it's just too easy to say that how cool it is to travel frequently. But as a kid, you really have to find yourself every single time and discover new things and rediscover them, and also get used to new friends, new environments. It's still rather hard on them. So I appreciated that. So as I said, it was really comforting to read his book, and that's exactly what I needed when I read it a couple of months ago. It felt genuinely good to see the relationship that he developed with his family, because as I said, he had like a very brief relationship with his dad, but he was able to build such a strong and beautiful family relationship with this Kenyan side of the family, and they just all immediately accepted them, even though they did not grow up together. They didn't know that much about each other, and they were just family since the day they met each other. All of his siblings, brothers and sisters, they all were a family, and a big part, I'd say the second part of the book, happens in Kenya, where he goes through every single relative of him. I should say that the book is like 600 pages, so for somebody who's 33 years old, he got a lot to say. But honestly, everything that he said was so interesting, and I was so curious personally to learn about every single member of his family. I could easily, and that does not happen to me often, remember every single name in the book, because usually, I swear to God, I forget. Because just the way he described his love for them and his longing for them was something that I wanted to keep, to discover more. And I just kept saying, like, yes, give me a little bit more of this relationship. Show me your relationship with your sister. So show me what you learned from her. So I really, really, really appreciated it. And this part of the family definitely does not come from money and a lot of wealth, even though there were periods of life where his dad had certain power. So they do talk a lot about those power dynamics of him being able to have a better salary, have more access to resources, and then taking care of his family, and then all of a sudden losing it because also kind of his, in a way, political views. So that was really interesting, as I said, comforting. And then the other side of the book, where it's really more about Barack and him just growing up, becoming the man and the person that he is today, is this internal conflict that kind of never stops, of him being half white, half black, but being only seen as a black person in the United States, and I would say pretty much everywhere else in the world, because he is still quite dark-skinned. So his white side of the family, it sounds stupid to say that, but it's just how it is. His white side of the family, his mom, who was still not, however much she loved him, however much his grandparents loved him, they were still not able to understand this part of him. And it's absolutely okay, and it makes sense. But his dad was not present enough to teach him some of the things, to explain to him some of the things that he was feeling, because as a black person, one of the things that he keeps saying, like, you constantly feel angry, and then later in life as an adult you just kind of understand why. But when you're a younger person, especially when you're a teenager, you just feel it so deeply and you don't know what to do with it, and it always exists. And when you try to talk about it to white people, even if they are your family, they still kind of brush it off, a lot of things, and it makes you just angry, but you still love them, so you still long for them. But at the same time, oh my God, I just really love the depth of his feelings throughout the book, and him showing what it felt like for him, what kind of struggle it was. And also that's basically how he started working in, let's say, in the social field, getting closer to people from the church, to see why church was so important for them, what was the community to them, how he could help them and be there for his people, for his community, for his kids, for everyone, to make sure people are being taken care of, to make sure that kids are not spending their days uneducated playing on the streets, but instead being able to go to school, to be taken care of by their parents and by the adults, like collectively. Really, really beautiful, because I could just see some parts of myself. Human rights really matter to me, so seeing someone who feels the same type of way is great. And as I said, like, it's not about who the type of person that he is today, because first of all, he's not even in politics anymore, for as much as I know. And you can still disagree with a lot of his political decisions. Like, I understand that. It's really the type of person that he shows himself to be in the book, something that I really deeply appreciated. So somebody who is very, I would say, family and community oriented. Something that more of you should be, by the way, because there are way too damn many people who are being so individualistic that they no longer know how to build healthy human relationships, how to communicate, how to be vulnerable, how to connect on a deeper level, how to connect on an emotional level, because capitalism is just making you into robots. So probably you should learn from Barack, because he does know a couple things about that. So yeah, that's my impression of the book. And also, obviously, when you're reading an autobiography, especially by someone who is not a professional writer, you're not really trying to judge their literary talent. It's not about that. Even though, I mean, once again, I've read it in French, so it's probably very different from the way it was written initially, even though I still love the language very much. So it's not about that. It's purely about how the person is able to explain who they are as of today through their story. And I feel like it takes a lot of art to just memorize things, to go through them again today as an adult. Let's say you're talking about yourself like when you're a 5-year-old, to maybe even like interview some of your family members to just get some of their memories to enrich your own story. It takes a lot, and it shapes you even more into who you are today. So that was a very beautiful, very touching story. 600 pages, but honestly, I appreciated every single one of them. So if you're looking like for a new book to start, that is still an easy read, because it's pleasant to be part of someone's family in a way as you read it. I would absolutely recommend this book. Once again, I'm going to have to put the title, because I do not remember the exact title in English, because I read it in French.